Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about one of the topics that always comes up when we see proven effective systems out there, ranging from obviously Conjugate, which I like and enjoy, and prescribe to most of my clients, all the way to things like 5-3-1. And I think one of the things that people forget with these systems is that these are systems on how to train basically your primary exercises, right? They are base templates on how to train your primary exercises. You are supposed to do supplemental work on all of these sorts of systems. You're supposed to do accessory work, assistance work, or in Conjugate, as they call it, special exercises. So these things all work. And one of the things that people forget is that these are proven systems. It is not even up for debate if they work or not. If you fail to make progress on either one of these systems, on either one, it's probably because you did stuff incorrectly, you trained like a pussy, or you picked the wrong supplemental exercises. Now, also people who do these systems and they'll say, what do you mean supplemental exercises? I thought 5-3-1 was these 4 lifts and maybe some back work. What do you mean supplemental exercise? Isn't Conjugate you come in and you do your max work and then your dynamic effort work? And then you have to look at them and go, you telling me that you think on the max effort day that you walk in and you do a max deadlift off of a block and then go home? You really think that's what you do? Do you think that's what anyone who coaches or runs this system seriously does? Or do you think that they do 20 or 25 sets of other exercises afterwards? If you don't know that they do 20 or 25 sets of other exercises after, you probably aren't actually familiar with the system. Same thing with something like 5-3-1. Okay, it's a programming pattern for your 4 classic lifts. That's really what it is. The big 4, the squat, bench, deadlift, and the press. Right? And it's got a base system in place for progressing on them over the course of several weeks and how to program them. Right? Conjugate does the same thing with variations, like you max out on random, almost random. You could do it random. Variations of pressing, squatting, and pulls from the floor, or possibly even good mornings, right? Max out on a press and some sort of lower body lift every week on 2 different days. Then you do speed work, which is dynamic effort work, using bench presses, bench press variations, box squats, and deadlifts, whether it's generally sumo or even a deficit deadlift or whatever, right? You do speed work on these 3 lifts, okay? They're set into a 4-day rotation. Just like 5-3-1 is set into a 4-day rotation built around 4 classic exercises, the big 4. So if you fail to make progress on either one of these proven systems, you either didn't follow the instructions correctly on those, or you didn't implement the right supplemental work, or you didn't do enough, or you didn't do it at all. You didn't do the supplemental work. And here's the issue with that, and this is why these sort of programs are not good for novice lifters. Novice lifters don't know what supplemental lifts they need. They don't know enough about training. They don't know enough about their body to figure out what their weak points are. Because if you ask a novice lifter, what's your weak point? It's obviously biceps. Because if you look at what the average novice lifter does, all they do is go to the gym and do curls. They find a way to do 37 different types of curls. And they think that their biceps are their weak link, so all they do is train biceps. So if you were to tell a novice lifter to run Conjugate or 5-3-1 and do a weak point training for whatever their weakest muscles are afterwards, they would probably max out on a squat and then do 20 sets of curls afterwards. And I hate to sound facetious, but that's really what they would do. Instead of coming in and saying, man, I really need to put a lot of effort into my upper back and my hamstrings. Average novice lifter or inexperienced lifter, and a lot of you guys might be intermediates and be inexperienced, you might not look at your deadlift or the deficit deadlift max you did and realize, man, my hamstrings and my upper back really suck, right? And I need to spend a bunch of time on those. Well, then you got to wonder, do they even know what to do for them if you tell them that? If I were to tell a lot of novice lifters out there, hey, you need to work on your upper back, They might go do a lat pull down, right? They might go do a chin up. Think they're going to do a bunch of Pendlay rows? Think they're going to do inverted rows? You think they're going to do chest supported incline bench dumbbell rows up on a 45-degree incline? You think that that's what they're going to do? Or do you think that they're going to think that, I don't know, some lat pull downs, that should work it, right? They don't even know what the upper back is. They don't even know what muscles work the rear delts or the mid traps. They don't know what exercises work the thoracic spine. Do you think if you tell them, well, you need to work on your T-spine, do you think good mornings is what they're going to do? Think they're going to walk over and throw a safety squat bar on and do good mornings like I'm doing there? Probably not. Tell them they need to work on their hamstrings. Okay. Even if they can identify that, do you think they know what to do for their hamstrings? Their quads are a weak link. They might think the leg press is the best solution, right? Or leg extension machine. They have no idea. They have no idea. So therein lies the problem. When people fail on these systems, it's because they don't correctly identify their weak points. I mean, take me, for example. I love to do overhead pressing. And as much as I would oftentimes say, well, I feel like my delts are a weak link in my bench, my overhead press is never correlated to my bench press. Much as I wish it did, it doesn't. I can work on overhead press all day long and my bench won't go up a single pound. And I know because I've taken my overhead press and increased it 30 pounds on my max. I've increased my 10 rep maxes by 25 pounds on the overhead press without gaining a single pound on my bench. And when I have my strongest bench in my 20s of my life, my overhead press is weaker than it is now. No correlation for me. And that's where it gets tricky. There's other lifters where the overhead press absolutely carries over to their bench. This is the problem we have with these systems. It's not that the systems are broken, it's that people have no clue how to train their weak points, and they don't understand that when you are no longer a novice lifter, your supplemental work is what is going to make your big lifts get the strongest. It almost doesn't matter which system you run, the answer is still the same. You could run either one of these systems, and they're very, very different systems, and get a lot stronger as long as you pick the correct supplemental work and you figure out where you need to really stack meat on to continue to progress. Yeah, you'll get guys who say, but shouldn't all the volume work on these get you stronger? If you do a bunch of benching and a bunch of squatting, shouldn't you gain muscle from that? Well, yeah, but if they stagnate, not necessarily. If you pick the right supplemental lifts to where you get stronger and stronger on these lifts, and I don't just mean your 1 rep maxes, get stronger on all your various volumes of stuff you're doing, then obviously you're getting bigger, but you also had to hypertrophy the weak links. And there's a flow to these things. And if you fail to bring up the biggest weak links on your big lifts, don't expect your big lifts to continue to make you grow. Okay? That works great for novice lifters. Works great in the starting strength model, but what do they tell you even there? What does Ripto say? We do not coach elite strength athletes here. We train novices. Right? To make these systems work, you have to correctly identify your weakest links. And you have to dedicate large amounts of your training time to working on those weak links. And I'll be honest, as someone who's familiar with these systems and has watched people run all these systems over the years, the people who fail to make gains on them are the people who fail to identify their weak links and they fail to appropriately identify supplemental exercises. And I wish there was an easy guide. When I say that, people say, can you make a video just telling us how to identify each of our weak links? My God, like if I could break that down for you in a video and teach you that, you're probably ready to start coaching people. You should probably go into the coaching business once you know all of that. A lot of you, it's going to take trial and error. It's going to take observation. It's going to take you asking coaches, asking other lifters. If you don't know, you're going to have to get feedback from other people. You're just going to have to. Make sure they're people you trust, people who know what they're looking at. You're going to need advice. If you don't know these things, you've got to get advice. And look, I give a lot of that here. There's a lot of other really good lifters and coaches who do it out there. But that's the reality of it. To make any of these systems run, you have to train your weak points, and you have to be able to find them. Or you're probably just going to have to train everything and focus on general hypertrophy outside of it. That would be another option that might be okay. Basically, don't leave anything untrained. Anything. And that means your rear delts are just as important as your biceps. It means your hamstrings are just as important as your biceps. Okay? All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.